now.
Okay. Good evening, Brian. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I am good. I just want to double check and see if you confirm for me to um, record for the interview.
Yeah, no, I'm totally okay, and I give you permission to record me for the interview.
You. Okay. And let's go ahead and get started with the first question. Which industry were you a representative of, and what was your role, and how long were you in that position?
So it was the restaurant industry, and the position I was in was assistant general manager, and I was actually in that role for about 5 years.
Okay. And what was the name of the organization again?
The organization itself was called Restaurants of America. They owned a few restaurants outright, um, single locations, but they were franchise owners of Hooters restaurants.
And that's the one
In
you worked at, correct?
Yeah, in Colorado and Arizona.
Awesome. Thank you very much. The next question is going to be broken up into different sections, so I will ask one at a time. While I'm asking you that, I'm also going to be asking characteristics that you're going to give me a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being least, 5 being the most. And once we get to that point, I'll let you know when I'm going to be doing that part of the question.
Okay.
So, considering the role that you were in for Restaurants of America, what was your greatest career achievement in that role? So, provide details, including the time period and the person's products and services involved.
All right. So for that, when I worked for the Hooters company, for the franchise Restaurants of America, right out of training, I was sent to a location in Arizona, and upon arriving into that location shortly thereafter, we had a meeting, I guess you could say a meeting with the health department. They come whenever they want to, no questions asked. They don't tell you when they're coming. And it was that visit that they basically gave us a fail.
Oh, that's not good.
And no, they gave us a fail. It was my first day there. I haven't really even started my shift yet. I was just getting acclimated to where everything was, and they showed up, and we got a fail. And because of that fail, the next meeting with the health department would be with one of their higher ups within the company that deals with these situations. And that would be um our last appointment with them. If we failed, then we would be shut down. So it was a extremely serious matter that came
Yeah,
about.
sounds like it.
It affected everybody in the restaurants. A lot of it affected the kitchen staff. A lot of it affected us managers. The back of the house was directly affected, which is going to be your kitchen, your prep, you know, where all your walk-in refrigerators, freezers, dry storage, your trash area outside, all of that is considered back of the house, and all of that was directly affected by the situation at hand that happened.
Wow, crazy.
Mhm.
So why do you consider that this achievement to have been so impactful?
So the reason I chose that as being the most impactful was because I hadn't even started yet, and already I was facing, the possibility of not having a job if we were shut down again. Um, I wouldn't have had a job. If we had a bad grade and news got out about this, it would it would basically mess up the really it would basically mess up the customers assumption of us as a restaurant. Are they clean? Are they not clean? Am I going to get sick? Did I get sick from them before and I never realized it? So it really put a negative impact, and it gave us a negative look as a restaurant. So for me, it was a big deal because I knew that we were good. I knew that we were clean. Some of the issues that we got knocked down for were things that a lot of restaurants get knocked down for, but that's neither here nor there. This was our restaurant and we had to fix it. So this was a big deal for me. I just got there. My what they call your area of responsibility was back of the house. So I was in charge of all the cooks. I was in charge of making sure line checks were done, all the food ordering, all the food was made according to how we're supposed to make it, according to spec. All the dishes were being washed properly with the right amount of detergent, right amount of sanitizer used. That our walk-ins were clean, freezers were clean, organized, dated. Everything was rotated as it's supposed to be. Our dry storage was clean, rotated, labeled, swept our back dock area, which is where our trash is, making sure that that was actually cleaned and up to spec so that there was no rodents or any issues like that whatsoever. Making sure all of our pots and pans were being cleaned and sanitized the correct way and left to air dry, which is the correct way of doing it. Making sure that all of our staff had gloves on, making sure that they were using the hand sink properly, making sure that our hand sinks were supplied with soap, not just in the back of the house, but in the front of the house where the servers were, in the bathrooms, making sure that all of our kitchen workers knew our recipes, knew our menus and how to do things. Also making sure that when there was new products coming up, they knew how they were supposed to be made according to spec. Making sure that everything was done according to the Hooters franchise standards. There was a lot that went into it, a lot of very late nights, making sure things were done correctly, making sure that our food was at the right temperature on the line, making sure that the food looked good, that it was properly rotated, that when we put the food away, when orders came, that it was done correctly, and just really truly staying on top of that and making sure that everybody in the restaurant, not just the managers, but even the servers, the hostesses, everybody that worked there made sure that they were all on board as well too, because they had a direct effect with it as well. For instance, if a server came in the back and noticed that something was not clean, that should be clean, i.e., if it went through the dishwasher and they were putting some of the dishes away, noticed that a plate or a pan still had dirt on it or leftover food on it, that they weren't putting it back up on the shelf to use again, knowing that it was dirty. Little things like that. So it affected every person in that restaurant and indirectly affected every customer in that restaurant because if we're serving food on dirty plates, if we're cooking food on dirty pans, or for fryers even, if our fryers were not kept up, were they being cooked in nasty looking fryers, little things like that. There were so many different aspects of it that were involved.
Thank you. Very, very good information. Based off of that achievement that you said, I need to just ask some characteristic questions toward that achievement. So again, it's going to be on a scale of 1 to 5. 1, never used. 2, rarely used. 3, used occasionally or sometimes. 4, used often. Or 5, used always. So I will give you the characteristic, and then if you could just let me know where you fall in line with this achievement that you were speaking about. So
And then
starting with the,
can I mention one other thing?
sure.
With regard to everything that happened, I wanted to make sure that I stated, um, with everything that happened with the health department and everything like that, we worked very hard in doing things like line checks, which normally speaking in a restaurant you do those 3 times a shift, sometimes 4 times a shift. For us, I set it up so that we were doing line checks probably about 6 or 7 times a shift. I was setting up that we were doing checks on all products that were prepped, making sure that they were the right weights, that all the recipes were being used correctly. At nighttime, we went through every single pan that was used, that was washed, to make sure that it wasn't dripping wet, that it was air dried, which is what it's supposed to do, that there was no food particles on it whatsoever at all. We made sure that all the dishes, everything was completely cleaned. We also made sure that all of our refrigerators were exactly at the right temp every single time, every single day throughout the entire shift. We did a lot of cleaning in our walk-ins, in our dry storage area, and our back dock area to make sure that there was no chance of any type of like infestation of rats, um, roaches, any type of rodents or vermin or anything like that whatsoever, making sure that everything was top of the line, clean to the detail so that it looked almost brand new. And because of all of that, when our health inspector came back, and it was a supervisor health inspector. When he came back to do his check, which could have been the final check, we actually got a score of around 98, 99%, which they had never gotten before, and it is very hard to get one like that. And we stayed a score of nothing less than 98% for um the next 6 visits by the health department. We actually were put on a program that they have for people that do, or for businesses that do very well with health department scores, as a way to showcase their being clean, and a way to showcase to other restaurants, to other businesses that get health department scores, hey, these are people that are doing it right. You might want to see what they're doing. So I just wanted that to be mentioned.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, no, good for you guys. You obviously worked hard to achieve that score, so that's excellent.
Mhm.
So, going through the characteristics, we'll start with the first one. So again, on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being never used, 2 rarely used, 3 used occasionally or sometimes, 4 used often, or 5 used always. For this achievement that you were talking about, where would you rate yourself for listening?
Always,
Empathy,
always.
healing.
Feeling, I would say,
Healing, like when you
oh,
heal something.
oh, I'm sorry about that. Healing, I would say the highest score is the highest number is a 5, correct?
Yes.
I would say a 4,
Okay. Awareness,
5.
persuasion.
Let's say a 4.
Okay. Conceptualization. So aware of the
Conce-
concept.
Conceptual, I would say probably a 4,
Foresight,
a 4,
stewardship,
5,
commitment to growth of people,
5,
and interest in building community.
5.
Okay, moving on to the next part. So the next question is, consider one significant challenge, preferably one with an ethical dilemma you previously faced in this role. How did you handle it and what was the outcome?
So, I would say so I would say an ethical dilemma that happened there. Um, well, I would say it had to do with a general manager that I worked under at a different location, that he took he took his position as general manager, head of the restaurant, in charge of everything. He took that and used that against some of the some of the Hooter girls, they're like your server, but they're not your traditional server, but they're
Okay.
Hooter girls.
Mm-hmm.
And he took it upon himself to try to get away with things that would for sure be deemed sexual harassment. Making
Oh,
comments to them, enticing them with, you do this and I'll do this for you, quid pro quo, things like that. He would quote unquote accidentally walk in on the girls changing.
oh, that's not good.
He had outside relations with a few, and everybody knew it. He didn't hide any of this whatsoever at all. And then he would stay after a lot and would drink and eat and kind of use it almost as a fraternity. And he was a grown man at that time. He was a grown man. He was in his 50s and really shouldn't have been doing that stuff. He made a lot of girls feel very uncomfortable, especially the ones that did not uh they didn't fall for what he was trying to do.
Right.
They were not okay with his advances in a sexual
Mm,
nature. And because of that, those girls were cut shifts. They were put on probation periods where, as a GM, you can do that if they're not staying the part, looking the part. And he would make accusations that they were not staying the part or looking the part and would, in essence, sabotage them. For me,
wow.
I saw this happening and I saw it happen with, some of the girls that no one deserved it at all. But the ones that were affected by it were the ones that did not say yes to his advances. And then it made it very difficult for them, not just dealing with him, but also with the other girls that would accept his advances. And they just didn't care. And so they would make these girls feel really, really bad, to the point where some of them got close to, having eating disorders, and I couldn't do it. So when I saw our area manager, and I had conversations with this GM before about, hey, what you're doing is not okay. And I had a meeting with our area manager and I let him know everything that he was doing, that I don't condone any of it and I can't work at a place or work for a general manager that does that. And, that I have four girls that are ready to go to a lawyer and file sexual harassment charges against Hooters, which Hooters has had many, many, many allegations, threats, and lawsuits against them. Some that were 100% true, some that were completely false. And I knew these ones were true because I saw it. And as a manager, you're ethically required, if you see things like this happening, you are ethically required to say something. Otherwise, you are held accountable as well. You might not be the one that's um, threatening or abusing or doing anything like that, but you're seeing it, you're allowing it, and you're not saying anything. So you are also held responsible. And I was not about to do that. I have a wife, I have a daughter, I have a son. I wouldn't ever want any of them to go through that, and I couldn't just sit there and watch these girls go through that. So I was their sounding board to our higher ups. It ended up getting all the way up to our director of HR for the franchise, because our area manager, one of them that knew about it, I think he was involved in some stuff. So I ended up getting all the way up to our director of HR, and even actually got to the Hooters franchise, like the main Hooters, which was based in Georgia. It even got all the way up to them what was happening. So it got up pretty high. Um, may have caused some issues for me in my job, but I wasn't too concerned. I was more concerned for these girls because, I was in my 30s and these girls were in their, early 20s. Not in some of them, not even 20, and they had so much to live for. So I took it upon myself to do the right thing and make sure that this was taken care of and handled. That GM was fired. I did move to a different location because that location eventually ended up closing. Um, but I am very happy that I did that because I have values and ethics, and I got to be able to look at my kids and my wife in the face every day, knowing that I'm not okay with stuff like that, and no one should be.
Yeah, wow, that's very serious. Very very scary too,
Yep.
that that happens in places. Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you for that information. We're gonna do also with, excuse me, with this um scenario you gave me too. We're also gonna do those characteristics again, 1 through 5. Um, so let's start again. It's pretty much going to be the same words as last time, but let's see if you get the same scores. So obviously, again, 1 never used, 2 rarely used, 3 used occasionally or sometimes, 4 used often, 5 used always. So listening,
Always.
empathy,
5.
healing,
5.
awareness,
5.
persuasion,
I'd say let's say 5.
the concept,
Let's see, conceptualization. I'd say 4.
foresight,
4.
stewardship,
Stewardship. 5.
commitment to growth of people,
5.
and interest in building community.
5.
Okay. Going on to the next part. Next question. What was the mission, vision, and strategy of the organization? And how essential is the entrepreneurial mindset achieving the mission, vision, and strategy of the organization?
The mission, vision, and strategy. So the mission for the the vision for the Hooters franchise from Restaurants of America, their their mission would be their mission was honestly to serve the best wings, burgers, fries, beer, food and entertainment, serve the best of all of that to, a wide array of people to provide some excitement. The Hooters restaurant is traditionally speaking, everybody assumes it's just for men, and a lot of families go there because that the girls are not called servers for a reason. They're called Hooters girls because of their position. They're not your traditional server that comes and goes, doesn't really get to know you too well, brings you food, refills. That's about it. With Hooters, people come in there, you get to know them, your kids get to know these girls. The girls look at these kids as, brothers and sisters. They might even look at these kids as, wow, these are like, my own kids. Not obviously in a literal sense, but the goal is for families to come in there and all their hard work and effort day in and day out to come in and have a phenomenal time, have really good food, whether it's wings, burgers, shrimp, grilled cheese, a milkshake, some alcohol drinks, non-alcohol drinks, it doesn't matter. It's a way for people to come in and just let go of the sorrows that they have to deal with at work or at home or what have you, and enjoy a meal where someone is coming over and taking care of you. And not just taking care of you, but really taking care of you, making sure that you don't have to raise your hand and say, oh, can I have this? Oh, can I have that? That they are anticipating your needs every time and making sure that you feel wanted, that you feel appreciated. That is one of their big goals and one of their big mission. Also, another goal of theirs and a mission, I would say, is to help women, especially young girls, realize that they have so much that they can do out there. And this position and this organization is known for helping jumpstart some amazing careers. There are many, many former Hooter girls that are now CEOs of companies that are, CMOs of companies, directors, owners of companies, a lot of former Hooter girls. This is what they do. This is what they did rather to jumpstart their career and were able to get put their best foot forward and learn and grow and move up within the company. Some are still there to this day. I do know that the director of marketing for Hooters itself, she was a former Hooter girl and she's been with that company, um, the one that's based in Georgia. She's been with them her whole life. That's all she's ever done and known because it's such a good company. They do take care of their employees. They do they do want the girls to know that they should be all respected and they make sure that they do everything they can to make sure that that happens for them. And another thing with Hooters that I also really enjoyed myself is they are there for the community. They want to help out the community. They always every year they always do something with breast cancer because of a former employee, Kelly Jo Dowd, who was a Hooter girl turned manager. She had breast cancer, and they every year do the Kelly Jo Dowd Fund for breast cancer. It's a huge, huge deal. They do stuff for ovarian cancer. They do a lot of things that I don't think people fully understand to help out with their community. They do toy drives. They do things for military. So gift packages to military at the end of the year for Christmas, where they'll send out a Hooters calendar and just a bunch of other things to let our service member men and women know, hey, we care about what you're doing. Here's a little gift from home.
Wow.
So a lot of things that they do that a lot of people don't realize and just see it as exploitation of women. And unfortunately, that is part of it too. There is some of that for sure. That does happen within some franchises. Unfortunately, I worked for one that did that via a manager, but they're not all like that whatsoever at all. A lot of them are very, very good to their employees and do not put up with any of that stuff whatsoever at all. Because at the end of the day, each of those Hooter girls is someone's daughter, is someone's husband, is someone's mother. And you have to ask yourself, would you want your mother, your daughter, your wife to be treated like that? And I'm assuming the answer would be no.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Wow. Yeah, they sound like they definitely do a lot, for the community, which is
Mhm,
amazing. Most places don't. So, well, thank you. Thank you for that information.
mhm.
Again, we're going to be doing the characteristics. Excuse me. Again, scale 1 to 5. 1 never used, 2 rarely used, 3 used occasionally or sometimes, 4 used often, and 5 used always. Starting with need to achieve, where would you rate yourself?
You said need to achieve.
Yes.
I would say a 5,
Openness to experience.
I'd say a 4,
Okay. Innovative/creative ability.
4,
Risk, prosperity. Pro, sorry, risk, propensity.
propensity.
Yes, thank you.
I would say a 5,
Okay. Proactivity and work ethic.
5,
Entrepreneurial self-efficiency.
5,
And internal locus of control.
5.
Okay, and then we are going to wrap up with the last question here.
Mhm.
So, apart from servant leadership and the entrepreneurial mindset, please identify 2 significant lessons/attributes that are essential for success. Describe anything you wish you would have specifically avoided that may have derailed or delayed your success.
So I would say one of the big things is not assumptions. Throw any assumptions out the door if you're going to work at a place like Hooters. Don't assume that the girls are going to be a certain way. Don't assume that you get to be a certain way with the girls. Don't assume that everyone has the same ethical standards that you have. Also, don't go in there thinking everybody is bad, but go in there with an open mind, learn, learn about the company, learn about really what it is that they do, learn what the Hooter girls do, what the cooks do, what everybody's role within the organization does, and really truly understand how you can fit into that role and help make them even better and help make the assumption of Hooters not as negative as it is, unfortunately. I would say go in there with ideas as well too. If you have ideas, get through training first, understand how the business works. But if you see something that, hey, I noticed you guys do this way, have you guys ever thought about doing it this way? Because it appears it may be quicker or more efficient or better. Um, some of the best ideas come from people that do that. That's how some of the best ideas and things change because of that. Because when you're doing something for so long, you're not always looking at, well, how can we do this better? So having those ideas is a really, really good thing. Um, Again, not having any preconceived notions that, oh, I work here, so I should be able to do this or I should be able to do that. Going in knowing that this is a job first and foremost. These are your co-workers first and foremost. They're not your Hooter girl for yourself. They're your coworkers. The best advice I would say that uh, I would hope anybody getting a job there, especially if you are a male, but also for females, is see it as that is your sister that you're working with. First and foremost, that's your sister you're working with, or that is your mom or your aunt or your wife that you're working with. And would you want anybody to treat them the way that you are treating them or the way that you see customers treating them? That is unethical. That is not right. That is not showing a sense of appreciation or anything like that. Then I would also put in there that don't be afraid to stand up when you see something being done wrong. Don't just sit back and think, well, I'm new here. It doesn't matter what I say. If you see something being done wrong that is very unethical, i.e., sexual harassment, say something right away because you could be stopping something that has been going on for years that other people don't know. And it's best to say something and confront the people about it or let others confront them, but you need to say something rather than sit back and be questioned and find out that you knew about this all along. You're just as bad as the people doing it. Even though you're not doing it, you're just as bad. And the respect people will have for you that you didn't say anything is really, really bad. So those are the top things that I would say.
Yeah, that's very, very good. I really appreciate your time tonight helping with this interview. And again, thank you again. And yeah, everything was really good and very informative. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate everything as well too.
All right, have a good night.
You too.
Bye.